June 6, 2024 saw the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, which brought together the Allied forces on land, sea and air, and which changed the course of the Second World War. And to commemorate that, we're revisiting Aldbourne in Wiltshire, which was the camp where the famous Easy Company of American paratroopers, the Band of Brothers, was based for their training. Last year, Tony and I were lucky enough to spend a week on site digging on the camp with Richard Osgood and the veterans of Operation Nightingale as they explored the remains of 2 Nissen huts which the men would have called home. We had quite a week uncovering not just the huts, but medicine bottles, knives and artefacts belonging to Easy Company, along with an extraordinary diary by David Kenyon Webster depicting his time in Aldbourne.
One day, Aldbourne was asleep with her cows and her memories, and the next she was tingling with 6 companies of wild young Yankees given to jumping from airplanes in flight.
We're back in Aldbourne in Wiltshire and I'm standing outside the post office, and it was from that window up there that 80 years ago Dick Winter prepared himself to join Easy Company as they prepared for their historic parachute jump, and that was a crucial part of the D-Day landings. Now I'm going to go up to see the team in a minute, and I've got to say I'm about 5 days late for the dig, so I've got me some lardy cake from the post office because I know they're a bit partial to that, so I'm going to see if I can butter them up with some baked goods. This year, the team moved their metal detecting survey to cover Ramsbury airfield, where the young paratroopers completed their training jumps before being dropped into northern France alongside some 24,000 American, British and Canadian airborne troops as part of Operation Overlord.
It's one of them thingies off of whatchamacallit.
You know, the stuff they drop supplies in that go down with the guys.
Fantastic.
They're probably dumping those as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Burning, you know, you burn them, wouldn't you?
Classic Kennet.
Yeah.
You're getting plough action as well, so it's spreading.
It's spreading. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of it spread.
Back on the football pitch in Aldbourne, the Operation Nightingale team have opened up a new trench where they think Fox Company might have been billeted, and the archaeology has proved to be just under the topsoil. Richard! It's great to see you again. Welcome back. It really looks like you've been cracking on hard here. Now, I appreciate I'm late to the party here. You've been here for a good few days, haven't you? So fill me in what you're doing.
Well, what we're doing is trying to establish what the nature of the huts were between what we think to be Easy Company and Fox Company, and seeing whether there are going to be brick bases or concrete bases, and relating that story and trying to find any evidence of the Americans in between. If we're really lucky, we'll find an identity of the company, but really just seeing what the huts are like.
Right, because last year we were over there, weren't we? And that was the huts as well.
Yeah, it's exactly where the tent city is and the caravans. That's where Easy Company were, we think, and on the halfway line of the football pitch is where Fox was. But that's where we concentrated last year for sure.
And just the one trench this year?
Well, we have stripped the turf for a second one over this hut here, but I think we've got quite enough work and we're making good enough discoveries in this trench to concentrate there, and we've got enough time to do that. So I think at the moment, just that one.
Is there anywhere where I can get stuck in here?
Always space. Yeah, let's get on and get you somewhere to dig.
Well, see if I've got my trowel. Not sure I've got it, to be honest.
I hope you have.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He doesn't know what he's doing, it's true.
It's just
Completely. Look at this. Look how straight this was.
straight as a
Carlos,
roundabout.
just move out the way a minute, mate.
Mate, that's straight as a roundabout.
It was straight, right? Then I
Exactly.
left and I came back and it was like all over the place.
Yeah.
Richard, these look a little bit familiar to me from last year.
I thought you'd recognise.
Tell me what you've got. What have we got here?
It's exactly as you're seeing. It's what we had last year. These are the concrete pads of a hut base. What's great for us is that we've got all of them from this building. I think that's the first time we've had that in the 4 years of the programme. So we're really quite excited by this. And you've got the ones in the corner, which are the big load bearers. They're really big, hefty concrete squares with the iron spikes in to hold the corrugated iron.
Yep.
You can see the two smaller ones at the front, and that is the front doorway of the old hut. And just in front of it, there's a darker stained area. Can you see that?
Yeah, the kind of black almost looks a bit like coal or something.
It's exactly that. It's clinker from old furnaces and probably the pot-bellied stoves that they've put out to basically do a hardcore on the paths because it's going to get wet and it's going to get muddy. So that's demarcated the front of the hut. We've got all of them going up the side, and we've got the back door as well.
Oh, right.
Let's go and have a look. You've got the pads of the side of the building, and can you notice right in the middle, you've got a corrugated iron sheet, which gave us a huge signal on the geophysics, and they're trying to evaluate what that is.
It's really quite deep, that, isn't it?
We don't know what's going to be below it. That's the exciting thing, because they're obviously hoping there are going to be finds underneath it. Curiously, I'd expect it to be slightly curved if it was part of the original hut. But maybe the pressure of the ground on top of it over the years has flattened it, but we'll see, we'll see. So you also can see that we've got the back of the hut, which is really quite exciting. We've got the two big strainer pads on each corner, and then the two that represent the back doorway, which will kind of work out onto the old street. That street has been in the same place for eons, and so it's the same orientation. So we've got the back door, got the back of the building, we know exact shape.
Richard, I found my trowel.
What a relief. Oh, look at it. Perfectly. Well, yeah, right-hander. Lovely. If we can get you working in this area next to Pat, you remember from last year.
Yes, indeed. All right, Pat. Long time. Good to see you again.
And then just work your way along there.
Okie doke.
Nice one. Leave you to it.
What do you reckon that is?
I don't know, it almost looks small, like a reciprocating saw blade or something of the sort, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't look broken. It does look like a blade or something. It's not broken or bent, is it?
No.
The urge to kind of pull it out is quite strong, isn't it?
Very strong, very strong.
You've got to restrain yourself. Oh, is it? Oh, so it is all bent.
Perfect, yeah.
It is all bent, is it? There we go.
Grenade spoon.
Is it?
Yep.
What is it? So how does that work then?
It's a hand grenade spoon.
Oh, I see, from the top of the grenade,
So
yes.
You would hold it, pull the pin, throw the hand grenade, and this would flip off.
Right.
Which would be the fuse for the hand grenade. So
Take it over to the...
Take it to the fines and let them clean it up, and you'll be able to see all the holes and areas where the pins would have gone, and
wow,
maybe some of the mechanism in here.
Mark, I remember from last year the multitude of finds that come out. Every day they were coming out from the trenches and from the metal detecting, and this year looks no different. What are the highlights? What have you got?
So at Ramsbury airfield, which is a short distance from here, we did some metal detecting survey, and we found some German ammunition.
Ah, right, yeah.
So we found this before, and we think this is associated with enemy weapons familiarisation training.
Okay.
So when they dropped into Europe or wherever they went, if they'd lost their own weapon or it malfunctioned, then they would be trained to use the enemy's weapons and turn them on themselves, basically. If we look at this particular example, it's got a diagnostic dent in the neck. That is very characteristic of a mark that you get from a round that's been fired from a German MG42 machine gun.
Right, okay.
Very characteristic. Doesn't happen on any other weapon. That's quite a nice find.
Wow, so that's a captured German round fired from a captured German machine gun in Aldbourne.
Correct. Yeah, at Ramsbury.
At Ramsbury,
yeah, indeed. Yeah.
What else have you got then?
Then we found, as we tend to do, quite a lot of American ammunition. Not surprisingly, quite a lot actually, more than you would think on a campsite. This is the American ammunition that we've got here. Mm-hmm. This is a Garand clip.
Yeah, I recognise them from last year.
Yeah, so 8 rounds fit in the M1 Garand rifle, and that, as you can see, very good condition.
And what about that kind of vicious-looking knife there?
Well, yeah, so we've got ammunition and ordnance. This came out this morning.
Right.
So it's quite a substantial blade. So it's not something that you're going to be using for eating with.
Yeah.
So anyway, very quick look, very quick check, measured it, look at the shape and form, and it's the tip of an M3 fighting knife.
Right, okay.
That's broken and obviously been discarded.
Yeah, so they would have carried that on them into...
Yeah, they had them sort of tucked down there.
Oh, right.
And it's a fighting knife, but as you can see, it's quite substantial. So we've diversified slightly into edge weapons there. And then we've had some grenade finds. So this is actually a part of a British grenade.
Right.
So it's the base plug from a Mills 36 grenade. I guess from the legacy of the British occupation of the camp. And this is quite a remarkable find. This is the safety pin from the grenade.
Right, okay.
You see that there?
Yeah.
So we've got, and that technically could have come from any type of grenade, but it does rather nicely match the British
Matches
one.
perfectly, doesn't it?
It does,
yeah.
indeed, yeah.
And what about this one here? Now, I recognise this.
Yes, you should do, yeah.
Pat got that out this morning,
yeah,
didn't he?
Indeed. It's the safety fly-off lever from an American fragmentation grenade.
Right, okay.
So very similar to the British one, held in by a pin. There's a striker in there that's under spring tension. So when you pull the pin out, the lever flips off. The striker hits the detonator and at a designated time, the grenade will function. And that's fantastic because it's got the markings on it and it's got still got the original paint.
Right, I think I'd better get back in the trench, I think, Mark. They might
Good
be missing
stuff.
me. See if I can find the rest of Pat's grenade.
Yeah, do.
In bits. According to Webster's diaries, lardy cake was a much-loved local treat for the soldiers as they endured the wet and changeable English weather. Okay, let's head over to the finds tent first. Right, guys, clouds have come over, the temperature's dropped, so I'm going to power you up with a bit of lardy cake there. Oh, there you go, Janine, grab a piece.
Lovely, thanks, Matt.
Nice. Dan, do you like lardy cake?
I do indeed, thank you very much. Thank you.
Get it down, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Lardy cake.
Oh,
do you like it?
I love it.
Really?
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, time for a break. We've been working really hard. And I was saying it's getting a little bit chilly, so here's some fuel for you. Prime lardy cake. Who likes lardy cake?
Oh, yes,
Well,
please.
then, Brian, grab a piece.
Thank you. Great job.
You've had it before, have you?
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
There you go. What do you think of it?
I'm watching the waistline, but I'll have a little tiny bit. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, make sure you get all the lard off the bottom, and you, Pat. There
I'll
you go.
take his extra piece.
Yeah.
This is definitely not vegetarian.
This is not vegetarian at all. Any more for any more?
Oh, go on then, man.
Go on then.
I do like
There's- have your lardy bit there.
Oh, no, thank you.
Right.
you anyway.
Who's left? As the excavation continues, we discover signs of what could be the tar paper which kept the Nissen huts watertight. Ken, great to see you again. What have you been up to this year?
Hey, just living the great American dream. Being able to come over here in this beautiful country once again and be a part of this dig has been absolutely amazing. This year we got a few more good finds, and I think we got actually more than we got last year. So
yeah.
it's looking really good.
And have you been in this trench most of the time then?
No, I haven't been in this one. This year I decided to go the metal detecting route, so I brought one back from the States with me, and that's been quite the experience too, learning a lot from some of the veterans of that thing here. And but it's a great experience. Every time I'm hearing one, they're like, you should ignore it, but no, I want to dig it up.
Yeah.
So.
Where have you been detecting then?
Been detecting around here, kind of on the other side of that garden over there, on this field, and then recently in Ramsbury a few days ago, we were finding a ton of stuff out there. Probably too much stuff because it felt like every couple of feet that we were going, we were getting a hit. And, it's like, oh, there's a piece of nail or something there. So that one was fun and a bit of a nightmare at the same time. So.
Yeah, so you've just got 3 days left then?
3 days left, yeah. And then we'll figure out, I usually take the train from Swindon on in. Very sad moment on that one, and realizing that, we're actually leaving such a great experience like this, and, this atmosphere, and as we dig these things for, a band of brothers, we've ourselves created the atmosphere of a band of brothers and a whole new family here, and It's a great time, being able to share our experiences. We have different veterans from different conflicts that are in together on this and sharing our stories of resilience, loss, great moments. It's absolutely beautiful and also clearly therapeutic.
Issued water bottle, let's see if I'm right. I just hope it's not a modern one.
I wonder whose bottle this was, and how was it lost?
It is what it is.
During the weekend, we were joined by local reenactor Torrin in authentic uniform with all his kit. He was very knowledgeable about it all, and this proved very useful when identifying some of this year's finds.
We weren't sure about, but I think they're from Gators. It's going to be something like military police.
1936.
Is that? Yeah.
Gator, 1938,
Okay.
1936.
And your guys never wore them, did they?
No.
If you'd like to see more episodes like this, you can make it happen.
Our new target is to reach 15,000 worldwide supporters on Patreon by the end of 2025. This will enable us to continue expanding the Time Team world. Enjoy front row seats for the greatest show on Earth and under it.
Morning, Chris. How you doing?
Matt.
You've got your own little mini breakaway trench here. What's going on inside it?
Yeah, so the GFIs picked up an anomaly coming from the corner of one of the huts, and we needed to find out what it was. So we've dug this small trench, and we've discovered a nice drain.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fairly modern to me. What's your take on it?
Yeah, well, there's a bit of debate about that at the moment. Some of us think it's war period, others think it's post-war. It goes underneath this clinker layer, so we know that they had clinker around the huts. We've got a nice account from Webster saying about how horrible and muddy this place was and how rubbish the British drainage system was. Now, it could be that the clinker's been moved by later population after the war. We don't know. I've got this little test pit that I've started. I'll hopefully have this dug out, and the corner of the hut is roughly in the centre of this pit. So we're hoping that the drain, geophys certainly shows it coming to about here. So hopefully we'll find out where it connects to the hut. And
yeah, and you'll see the pipe properly connecting or not with the
yeah,
hut, and
yeah.
then we'll be able to tell whether it's a proper part of the construction or not.
Yeah. And the best thing is if we find any, get any finds within the pipe, would be perfect.
This year, an intriguing map has come to light, which seems to show where the soldiers trained and confirms what the team have found over the years in the surrounding countryside.
After the 5 or 6 Parachute Infantry Regiment left, the map was pulled off the wall, and I think it was going to be burnt and destroyed. But a young lad saw it and he took it away, and fortunately it survived.
We've been looking at the broader area, the training areas and what the troops were doing. So we've got Aldbourne here and the camp. We've been up at Pentaco Wood, which is here. We've also been interested at Love's Copse, where we know that there's some foxholes, and the Americans were staying overnight. And this just a bit further up here is around North Farm, where we found the tree carvings all around there. So we know that the Americans were all in these in the green areas training.
Well, we know the 506 were in this area, we know the 502nd were in that area.
Excellent. Okay.
Janine and Harvey, I've just stepped into this tent and seen this amazing array of finds here, but it's been separated out, I can see, into this rather rusty pile over here, and a few things I recognise over here from the camp. What's the difference?
Okay, so effectively we're working on 2 sites this year. We've got the Aldbourne site here, which is the Farm Lane camp, but we've also for the first time this year done some metal detecting up at Ramsbury airfield, and what we've just done is really to show the difference between the 2 kinds of finds that we're finding on each site.
And what's from the airfield then? What have you got?
Well, we've got some really interesting bits that relate directly to US paratroopers. We've got these webbing buckles here, which are D-rings for a parachute harness. We've got another parachute harness clip here, which is really nice. We're also getting some domestic wear from Life on Camp up there, and these This bits of cutlery are dated 1942. So that's really nice, a bit of airfield life. Very interestingly, we found, I don't know if you can see this, Matt, this plate here with a little stamp on it.
That's not as rusty as the other bits, is it?
No, we've actually traced those inspection stamps to the C-47 Dakota aeroplanes, which would have been based up there, and it's actually got 2 inspection stamps, so this has seen life and action because it's been stamped on 2 separate occasions.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite an interesting find.
And what about this crowbar?
Well, we're not quite sure what this is yet, but what's really nice about it is it's still got paint on it. So we're thinking this is possibly the interior of an airframe. We don't know what it is, but it's just nice to show that period paint and the colours that we're dealing with at that time. But one of the star finds from Ramsbury is this beast, and this is the tow hitch for a glider. So this end would have been attached to the C-47 Dakota, and then this end would have been tied to the tow rope, which have gone from a hawser or a Waco glider. So one would have dragged the other. But it's unusual purely because you don't normally find bits of metal this heavy on an airframe, but it had to be really substantial just to get the thing off the ground and towing. But feel the weight of that.
Oh well, yeah, that's really some piece of kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so moving on to the stuff from the site where we're standing at this very moment, Jean, I recognise a few of these things. I recognise the mess tin knife, definitely. What else have we got?
Well, I'll just go back to the mess tin knife. What's really good about this one is that it's actually date stamped with 1943 and the name Burns, which was the company that actually made this in the States, which we never had a date stamp on the knife before.
And there's personal items on here as well?
Yep. Something that was found this yesterday. It's not quite the same era as what we're after here, but it's still really cool. It's a hazeline cream made by Burroughs Wellcome & Co. And that was used for shaving and ladies keeping their skin nice and fresh and whatever. So we need to do a bit more research on that one.
Is that a razor there?
Yeah, this is a safety razor, and it's actually been cleaned, so it actually comes apart in 2 parts. But if you look on the base there, I don't know if you can see it very well, it's actually got made in England. And something that we haven't found before, which is a tin, it's called wood alcohol can, and it's the fuel they use for their stoves.
Right, so they'd have been brewing up tea on top of that little stove there.
Yeah, and there's even a tiny bit of green paint on the top. So we sort of worked that out from the books that yes, this is US, had that same size and colour of paint.
Wow.
And everything.
And what about this here? I can see some writing on there.
This was found yesterday afternoon, I believe, from the trench, I think. And it's actually dubbin, leather cleaner, leather protector, and it's actually really, really cool, really fragile. But it's just something else to go to show that, you know, how they live their life here.
Well, we still use dubbin now, don't we?
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
It's something that's just carried on.
Yeah.
And this mucky tray over here, I recognise these nails, certainly. What have you got?
We find hundreds of these on site, and these are the diamond plated screws that would have held the corrugated iron against the frame from the outside. We're also getting a lot more of this coming out, and that's the reinforced glass that would have been in the windows of the Nissen hut as well. We've got these staples, which again is typical Nissen hut, and that would have been on the inside, and that would have held the hoop against the frame and against the corrugated iron. And yeah, it's just a typical classic set of Nissen hut finds there.
Graham, you're the go-to guy apparently. You're the one who's getting all the good stuff from the metal detecting survey. What have you had? What's your favourite so far?
Well, there's been loads throughout the week so far. Some of my best finds are some couple of hammered coins found in the spoil heap just off to our right hand side.
Yeah.
That was a lovely find.
It's difficult to tell because they're very worn, especially that one there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean this was found this morning by myself. Maybe a Henry, because you can just see his face very, very slightly. You know, I wouldn't like to determine at this stage what it is. But
anything else today?
Yeah, so we've got. I've just come off the field now.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So I've just dug up a clip of 303 ammunition.
So has this just come out just now?
Yeah, so I dug that up about 45 minutes ago.
Wow. Look at that.
They are in fairly poor condition and very fragile, but you can see the they're capped. Each one's capped with cardboard that had to keep the propellant in place, dry.
And is all this stuff coming from the same area? Do you think you've got a lucky spot?
So we've just started surveying down on the left-hand side, which I don't think has been done before. So there's quite a lot of stuff coming up. So and yesterday one of the members started finding some buckles off webbing and stuff like that. So yeah. maybe it is a little bit of a hot spot. I don't know.
We were very fortunate to be joined by D-Day veteran Cecil, who is now 100 years old.
And were there lots of the floating tanks and boats coming across at the same time when you landed?
I don't remember any. I don't remember seeing any. It was too rough.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, it was really rough.
And the weather was terrible, was it?
Yes, terrible. And it was nice to get ashore.
Yeah.
But there was one block on the landscape, and that was 14 days after D-Day, when we got another attack. And that was when the disaster came, when 60 young people were killed. Something that I shall never forget. People don't realise what the penalty is if you go to war. Great shame.
Hearing Cecil talk so movingly about his memories was a reminder of the horrors of what lay ahead for the young men who lived in the Nissen huts in this quiet English field.
So Richard, you finally uncovered, well, I was going to say this one bit of corrugated iron, but there's clearly two bits, isn't there?
Two sheets, yeah.
A very clear line down the middle. It looks pretty delicate round there, but I guess we're going to have to lift it, right?
Yeah, and the question is how we do that without breaking it. I mean, I think there are two sheets, so we'll have to do two separate little missions on it, but how do we do it? I think we have to undermine it to start with.
Roll it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit there is really close. Should we go? We'll go towards Harvey, shall we?
Those are just stained. While they're gone, I'm going to make all the finds.
There we go. Let's just put it down about here, I reckon. It seems that the Nissen hut was a very similar construction to the Easy Company Nissen huts. They were built on concrete pads and designed to be put up in a matter of hours. The corrugated tin appears to have been a protective layer placed in the ceiling around the chimney for the pot-bellied stove that would have warmed the hut. So Richard, we're coming to the end now of another amazing season, perhaps your last season in this particular field.
Well, we're talking about that at the moment, actually, but yeah, it could be. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. What are the highlights for you then for the last week, really?
Well, I think it's answered the academic question, which is it a brick footing or a concrete pad footings? And we've seen concrete pads, so we know the style of thing. I'm quite surprised at how many finds we've had because it's been looked at quite extensively before, so that was a good thing. And as usual, the weather was brilliant and the camaraderie was wonderful. And I think that's made it for me is the fact that we've all had such a brilliant time.
Yeah, and you mentioned the finds. I mean, they've been coming out thick and fast. But highlights for you?
A couple of bottles and a couple of coins.
These things
were
here?
good. Yeah, these things have been, I suppose, some of the highlights.
What's that? That one looks like a bit like a hip flask.
Yeah,
but it is glass.
I think it is. Yeah, it's a glass bottle. Still got the lid that works on it. Let's get it out. That's quite a nice bottle, isn't it? It's got that indent that would fit there. I don't know about that.
Yeah, and it's whole as well, which is
nice.
nice.
Complete. Yes. So that was a good find. But as I said, anything connected with something that's definitely American.
Yeah.
And that's a cut. That's an absolute stunner, isn't it? Look at that. So this is, other than it's squashed, it's pristine, isn't it? It's got the 1943 stamp on the bottom. It's an American canteen, definitely left by one of those soldiers in the Second World War, and I think that's really nice. We haven't had one of these before, and a really important piece of American kit. Even in the Band of Brothers television show, they do tell you how hydration is critical to the soldier, and that's what enables it.
Yeah,
really good.
And what about this here? Well, that's a coin. Even I can tell that.
Well, it's a 3-cent piece, and the American troops that we've got with us at the moment are, very familiar with this particular coin design. And on the obverse, it's got the head of a Native American. Okay, this is going to be good, is it? Of course it is. Oh!
Wow.
I'm so tempted to unbend this and read it.
I know, I will as well.
So I presume it's an American dog tag. Where was that?
Under the Wrigley tin.
No!
Yeah.
So there was genuine treasure under that after all. Yeah. That's why we did it delicately, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that.
Otto May.
Otto
from
May.
Brooklyn, New York.
And do you know which company he was in?
We think he's with a bomb group.
Bomb group?
Possibly. Giselle's looking at fold 3 at the moment. See what we can find.
Wow. Yeah. So you asked me about the best finds. You might have to do that scene again. That's tip top, because this is about a person.
Yeah.
So all these other things about paratroopers or Americans or British soldiers, and that's great. It's lovely and wonderful, but we can't get that linked to an individual soldier. But now we can.
It's an extraordinary find and a fitting end to Operation Nightingale's 80th anniversary dig. And through the wonders of technology, Giselle had, within 45 minutes, found out quite a bit about our man, Otto May.
It's the dog tag.
So you've been doing some research, have you? What have you found out?
Well, we know that this is someone named Otto May, and they were part of Fox Company.
Well that's good, because we found that in the middle of the building.
Yes.
Yeah. We've always assumed that Easy Company was over there, Fox Company was over there, but we've never found anything that can directly associate a particular unit and a person with the building.
This has always been a mystery side. It could be Easy or Fox, but now we know that Fox was here and in this one.
And where did you find it?
It was literally 2 inches down,
so
almost
the
dead
key
centre.
thing, it's in the confines of the hut and under the demolition. So short of having someone scratching the name on one of the posts, that's as good as we're ever going to get to be able to say Fox Company was here.
So Fox Company and Easy Company were both here in the camp at the same time, weren't they? And they went to D-Day together?
Yeah, they're both part of the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment.
So we know he was in D-Day, but we also know that he was injured in Foy. So Easy and Fox were both in Foy. And he was injured there by a shrapnel due to an artillery shell wound on his lower leg.
So he's a bit like, in many ways, the participants on the excavation. He's somebody who's been medically discharged from the military. So again, he's a bit of a poster boy for Op Nightingale in many ways.
Absolutely.
We're going to get more information on him, we will.
Well, that's fantastic. But the great thing is, that's an artefact directly associated with somebody who jumped on D-Day.
Well done, Dave.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
The stories of the men who lived here have touched all of us in different ways, and even inspired a local folk artist who treated us to a performance of a song he wrote in honour of the young men who left the camp in Aldbourne in May 1944, not knowing whether they would ever return.
And the fence has fallen down, and the trees are all around, and the stories that they tell of the men who went through hell are written there to see in the very living of Aldbourne to the beaches of Normandy. Reach out through time as the arbor glyph talks to me, carved in the bark so I'll always remember your name. Walking this path is like walking the line between present and past. Who knew trees could be time machines, catching the tiniest glimpse of the men you became, of the men you became.
Join Time Team on Patreon to access exclusive 3D models, masterclasses and behind-the-scenes insights.